admonish you tonight to, just have an open mind, pray about it, count up the cost of some of the things we're going to be talking about, and just kind of decide, maybe, this is something I want to try. But the thing that you don't want to happen is that to look back, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now and say, man, I should have, would have, could have, wish I would have, that kind of thing. And it brings to one of my favorite quotes by the late Dr. Miles Monroe. And the quote says, the wealthiest people in the world is not the gold mines of South America. The wealthiest place in the world is not the gold mines of South America or the oil fields of Iraq or Iran. They are not the diamond mines of South Africa or the banks of the world. The wealthiest place on the planet is just down the road. It's in the cemetery. There lie buried companies that were never started, inventions that were never made, best-selling books that were never written, masterpieces that were never painted. In the cemetery is buried the greatest treasure of untapped potential. And so that is one of my favorite quotes by Dr. Miles Monroe. And let's not be guilty of making that quote true. We want to die empty. We want to give the world all we have, all God gave us to give. We want to leave it here when we leave this place. The second question, first question, why would I want to start a business? The second question is, how Christian should your business be? How Christian should your business be? And so I looked at that and I thought about three things that not only a Christian business or a Christian entrepreneur should have in their business, but especially a Christian entrepreneur. First thing, integrity. Integrity is about Christian-centered living. It's about doing what is right rather than what's expedient. The organization with integrity will make its business decisions based on the standards, the principles of God, righteousness, truth, and honesty. We have to have integrity in our business. You can't go around beating people and taking advantage of people, especially as a believer who owns a business. The second thing, excellence. As Christian businesses, we should strive to be excellent. And an organization, if an organization is to be recognized as an exemplary one whose goal is to glorify God through its commitments to excellence in its service and product, it must always honor God and be thoroughly cognizant of its role and mission in a pagan world. In other words, when people come into my business and they know that I'm a Christian and I'm just half doing it, what glory does that bring to God? So we need to make sure that we're operating at all times in excellence. The third thing is a commitment to our people. This includes the area of fair compensation, performance recognition, providing growth opportunities professionally and personally. It has been determined that an organization that recognizes needs of people and create opportunities for them to fulfill those needs are able to bring out the very best in them. Our staff and people that work and serve with us in our businesses, they are our greatest assets. And as Christian business owners, we have to make sure that we treat them as such. So now let's just get down to, brass tacks here. And I hope that this doesn't bore anyone. I'm going to try to speed through some of this. We're going to emphasize a few things, but they're basically 12 steps when you talk about starting your own business. And if we'll put the fire, we're going to kind of just go through that. The first thing I want to talk about when it comes to starting a business, and you see all the 12, we're going to hit and miss on some of those. But the thing up there in the goal, the first thing is to develop a business plan. What happens is we come up with these wonderful ideas about what our business, should be. And we have this great, we're all excited and everything. And we don't want to take out the time to do the business plan. But the scripture tells us to write the vision, to make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. And that comes from Habakkuk 2:2. Benjamin Franklin said, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. A good business plan not only helps entrepreneurs focus on the specific steps necessary for them to make business ideas succeed, but it also helps them to achieve short-term and long-term objectives. And then I put at the end, a comprehensive business plan also includes an exit strategy. So when we talk about our business plan, we're talking about the map. We're talking about, People use their business plan to seek financial sources to get funding. You use your business plan as your yardstick. And the first thing we want to do, especially us, is skip it. We don't want to take the time out to work on the business plan, but your business plan is going to answer questions for you. It's going to tell you, who are you? What do you do? What resources do I have? Where am I going with this? What do I need to get there? How can I measure my performance? Our business plan is what keeps us accountable. A business plan is also important for somebody that's business is already established, because you can look back at your plan and see, okay, I did this, I did that, I did 1, I did 2, I did 3. You can look back and say, hey, I need to change that. This is not working anymore. Number 3, you can look at your business plan and say, okay, are there any opportunities for me to grow in there? And another thing about doing a business plan, it really lets you know if you really know what you think you know. That's what it really, really, really does. You have to look at your competition. You have to look at who your customers are going to be. You have to look at, how am I going to make money from this thing? Am I going to have to hire people? Am I going to hire more people? Am I going to need another location? Is it something I can run from my house? Am I going to have a brick and mortar building? So doing the business plan takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. And then I want to talk a minute about an exit strategy. And this is something that I've learned the hard way. We had a business plan, but we really didn't plan for an exit. And it's like, okay, we're talking about starting a business. So why would I want to plan ending my business? Because at some point, especially a corporation is perpetual. It goes on forever until somebody, dismembers it. So we had a corporation. In the exit strategy, you have to think about, what happens if a principal dies? What happens if a principal gets sick? Are you going to pass it on to a family member? Are you going to, if you pass it on to a family member, are they trained to take over the business? What's going to happen then? Are you going to take the business public? Are you going to just file bankruptcy and just let it die? So in our business plan, you want to start at the end and work back. So if you're planning a company and I want to go global, well, then you have to think, okay, my company is going to be a worldwide company. So I'm starting here. This is the end, and then back your way into the business plan. So an exit strategy is absolutely, y'all, don't skip it. Just don't skip the business plan at all. Don't skip it. It's hard. It's tedious. It's not hard. The forms and templates all over the internet, all over, there are billions of them you can find. But do the business plan. Believe you me, it will make a difference. The next important thing that I really, really want to talk about is the business structure. How you're going to structure your business. Your business structure determines how you're going to pay your taxes, if you have an ability to raise money, how you're going to do your paperwork, what paperwork you need to file, what your personal liability is. All of this is tied up in your business structure. And so let's look at, there are several, but we're going to look at probably the 3 basic that most of us are familiar with. And the first one is a sole proprietorship. Now, this business structure it's considered an informal structure. It isn't incorporated and it's not separated from the owner. What that means is that 100% of the business's profit goes to the owner. However, this is very important for sole proprietors. 100% of the financial liability, should the business get into debt, if the business gets sued, also falls on the owner. So what that means is that if something happens in the business and as a sole proprietor, you're liable. So that opens up your house, that opens up your savings accounts, that opens up your, any assets you have, because you and the business are one. You and the business are the same person. Most people that have sole proprietorships, they go and they do a DBA. And a DBA is basically a trade name. It's a doing business as. Here in Tarrant County, you can go down, I think it's like $25, somewhere $25 to go down to the county clerk's office and file a DBA. You can name your sole proprietorship a name. You can give it a trade name. $23, $25 or something like that. But also just remember that when you have a sole proprietorship, all of your taxes, everything, all of the business taxes, the business losses, the income, all of that flows right into your personal income tax. You do a regular 1040, you do a Schedule C with your profits and losses and all that kind of stuff. But all of that, you, the owner, and the business are one. And it's basically best for low risk businesses, businesses that are just maybe just testing the water, maybe like your side hustle, that kind of thing, or a business that has a small customer base, where it's basically going to be your friends and family and people that you know like that. So that's basically the sole proprietorship. The next business structure that we're familiar, most of us are familiar with, is an LLC. The LLC limits the personal liability of the owner, but it doesn't require as much heavy formality and paperwork that a corporation does. So basically, the LLC, you get the benefit of having a small, not a whole lot of paperwork like the sole proprietorship, but you have some liability protection from your own personal assets. And here in Texas, to file an LLC, you choose your registered agent. A registered agent is basically a person that's available from 8 to 5. Apartment has a street address. You can hire people to be your personal agent. You can be your own personal agent. Basically, you're open from 8 to 5, just in case the state calls you, somebody can answer the phone. That's basically what that's for. But to file an LLC in Texas, it costs about $300. You get your articles of organization, you get your operational agreements, you file it with the Secretary of State. And the thing that's so cool about an LLC is that you can choose how you want to be taxed. You can be taxed like a sole proprietor, where everything is, all the profits and losses pass, right to you, or you can be taxed as a C or an S corp. So that's pretty cool about an LLC. Most people are doing LLCs now. A lot of people are not doing the corporations anymore. And so that's basically the LLC. The final business structure we're going to look at is a corporation. It is considered a separate entity from its owner. This means that the corporation, not the owner, is responsible for all of its debts and all of its liability. This is often called a corporate shield. It protects the owner's personal assets from the business. And there are a couple of types of a corporation. There are C corps, there's S corps, and then there's nonprofit corps. So as a corporation, basically, it is its own separate thing. John Carter's Place is its own separate entity. It's its own person. It's totally separate from everything from us. It's its own separate entity. For a corporation in Texas, again, it's about $300. You have to have a board. It's different than LLC. You have to have a board of directors. You have articles of incorporations. You have to do bylaws. You have to have organizational meetings. You have to issue stock certificates, all of that kind of stuff, to do a corporation. But once again, it is a shield for your personal assets, and it's for businesses that intend to grow, that want to expand, and have a lot of liability out there. And again, you can choose how you want to file your corp. You can do it via C corp, which means it's kind of like double taxation. Like John Carter's Place Inc. is taxed. If I receive pay from John Carter's Inc., then I'm taxed again. So the money is taxed twice. Where if it's an S corporation, it would go straight from John Carter's Place to my personal income tax, and then it's taxed only once. So that's the difference kind of between a C corp and an S corp. And I know this is I hope this is not boring, but I hope y'all learning something. Then we look at a nonprofit corporation. A nonprofit corporation is basically, it's a corporation. You go through all the articles and everything, but it specifically is used for public service purposes. Then once you file your corporate paperwork, you have to file for the 501c3 with the IRS so that you can accept donations and give people, tax donation letters and all that kind of stuff. So that's basically the business structure. So once you decided, I want to start a business, you have to first, look at the structure, decide what your future looks like, what you're planning to do, and then that'll help you in turn decide which structure you're going to go into. Okay, so let me kind of move. Time is like move it on. Woo woo. Okay. Next thing, Pick a business name. The one thing that I will say about picking a business name, pick a name that you can sell. Pick a name that you can sell, and I'll explain that to you later. Picking a name for your business is easier said than done. You have to make sure you cover all the bases. You don't want some crazy name. You got to go and do the search. Make sure you're not stealing somebody's name. You have to, if you're smart, you'll have your name trademarked. You want to make sure that your name is available. There are different search engines. The Department of State, the Secretary of State's office, you can do a search and say, is Bowman Troop number 3, is that available? You search and make sure your name is available. I say pick a name that you can sell, because what if your business grows and it blossoms and I name it Denise Bowman Incorporated? Well, I'm not going to sell nobody my name. I want to sell the business, but the people are going to want Denise Bowman Incorporated because this business has bloomed into this, this major conglomerate. And I could be, they want to give me $1 billion for it, but I name it Denise Bowman Incorporated. Well, I can't be selling my name. So make sure when that's a lesson I learned, Lord. I learned it. Name your business a name that you can sell. That, if it's Saturday night special don't mean nothing. I can sell that, but I can't sell Denise Bowman Incorporated. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Okay, next thing, register your business. We talked about kind of like when you register your business, that's doing your what structure is going to be in. All this is going to be registered with the state. Y'all just do it the right way. My advice is just do it right. Do the paperwork, file the stuff with the state. Just do it the right way. Register your business where it needs to be registered. Next thing, obtain your federal employee ID number. Your EIN number is like your social security number for your business. Some sole proprietors use their social security number. I really wouldn't recommend that. I say just separate it. I say keep it all separate. It's easier, it's cleaner, it's better, in my opinion. But you just go onto the IRS website, fill out the form SS4, and you get your basically your social security number for your business. The next thing you want to do, you want to open up your company bank accounts and your credit accounts. Do not mix your personal finances and your business finances in the same account, even if it's a sole proprietorship. The reason I say that is because it makes accounting a nightmare. It makes accounting a nightmare. If you're ever audited, if somebody ever want to look in there and McDonald's and let's see if dealers, I could be buying something for dealers for work, but I'm just saying, don't mix, have your money separate, put it in a separate pot. So when you're opening up an account for a corporation or LLC, the bank is going to want to see your registration. They're going to want to see your paperwork, your EIN number, all those kind of things. They're going to want to see that stuff. Just go in there, separate your money out. Just keep your money. It's better for tax purposes and accounting purposes and all of that. Setting up your accounting system. There are thousands and thousands of accounting systems out here that you can use. I was able to go back and look over the last 30 years because of the accounting system that I use to tell y'all how many people we've hired over the years, because it's in a system. So that shows you how important it is to keep that stuff together. We just went through this pandemic, and a lot of businesses, apply for the PPPs and all these loans that the SBA was making and all this stuff. If you don't have now don't get me wrong, some people got money and they didn't do it the right way. I'll just put it like that. But we as believers, we want to do it the right way. We want to do it the right way. And when you have your accounting together and your accounting systems together, you can apply for this stuff, and whoever needs to come look at it, they can come look at it, and you're fine. So make sure that you have a accounting system set up so you can track your performances. If you don't have your accounting set up, then you don't know what you're spending and you don't know what you're making.
You don't know if you're losing. You don't know what you're winning. So make sure that you have those things set up. There are a lot of programs now where you can link your debit cards and it goes straight into your accounting systems. It's not all the time like when we first started where I had to go in and like log all the checks and, manually put everything in. It's not like that anymore. It's really easy ways to do that. You want to have systems in place to where if something happens to you, if something happens to me, my employees still have to get paid Friday. So who's going to pay those people Friday if something happens to me? So I need to have systems in place to where if I go down, payroll still runs Friday. 941 deposit still gets made on the 15th. We need to have those systems in place. That's why our accounting systems are so important. Obtain your licenses and your permits. Y'all, in Texas, if you sell tangible products, you have to apply for a sales tax ID number. You have to charge taxes, and you don't charge those taxes and keep them. They want you to send that tax to them every month. You got to send them people their money, right? So, keep up with your taxes. What you owe these people, because we don't have the luxury of big corporate lawyers that can get us out of trouble. They will come and take your stuff. Send them people their money. If you're collecting sales taxes, send those people that money. They'll send you a reminder. Okay, the 21st is coming. It's time for you to file your sales tax. So we have to file for all the permits that we need. If you're a restaurant, you need health permits. If if you're selling something that's tangible, if you can touch it, you have to charge taxes on it. You have to charge sales taxes. So you have to have a sales tax permit. There's a website, I think it's Go Big Texas. It goes and tells you all the different licenses and permits. If you're a beauty shop owner, get your license. If you are, if you're your insurance broker, get your license. Do it the right way. Just do it right the first time. And then it's done. Once you do it right, it's done the first time. So make sure that you obtain all your licenses and that you pay your taxes, your sales taxes, all your taxes really, but sales taxes, of course. If you have a business that, hire employees. If you have a business that you're going to need to hire employees, y'all, you're going to need to make sure you're registered with Texas Worth Commission. You have to report new hires to IRS and to the state. You have to pay 941 payroll taxes on these people. Everybody can't be off the books. If you have a business, you got to have some payroll. If you have employees, somebody has to be on payroll. You can't pay everybody under the table. And a lot of people that, I know that have businesses and they're, my uncle's on the business, but he's on Social Security, whatever. There are different things. But like with this PPP money just came out, a lot of people couldn't get what they would have gotten. They have 30 employees, but only 10 of them on payroll. So they missed out on that grant money, all those loans, because, the employees weren't documented properly. So when you have employees, make sure that you're following the rules, file the 941s, pay your payroll taxes. The IRS want that, they want that Social Security. Those are what they called entrusted funds. You will get in big trouble spending those people money. When you take money out of people's payrolls for their Social Security and their retirement stuff, those are like entrusted funds. You will get really big trust fund penalties if you spend that money and don't pay it quarterly. Some people, like our corporations, mostly report theirs monthly. So just take my word for it and do it. Okay. Obtain, and I'm trying to wrap it up. Obtain your business insurance. Big deal. If you have a business, there's a liability. There's always a liability. If it's with food, if it's with cars, washing somebody's car and you scratch it, people will sue. People sue. I'm just going to tell you, over the last 30 years, I can tell you all kinds of stuff that's happened. People fall. People slip down. Get you some insurance. at least liability insurance to cover you. Even sole proprietors, even though you and your business are one, and I would still say have some liability insurance. You know, I'm in food service. If you cater out to somebody and somebody choke, you know, or, you know, I don't know, somebody bite on the chicken bone and they break their tooth, anything, y'all, stuff happens. I can just think of stuff that's happened over the last 30 years. But without insurance, a lot of that liability will fall back on you. Systemize and organize. You have to keep yourself organized if you want to grow. If it's congested and it's all messy and you're disorganized and stuff everywhere, you know, it's just no way, because you won't be able to tell where you are. You won't be able to tell what's going on. If your business is it growing? Is it losing? If it's, you know, it's at a stalemate, and if you need to make changes. If you should have it so organized and systemized that somebody that knew your operating systems could be able to come in and take over. If you're trying to sell your business, people like to go in and see, okay, they got this in a row, they got this, they got this, they got that. When it's all organized, adds more value to your business. Branding and marketing. I talked about your name. Choose your name wisely. Now with the internet and social media, you know, the sky's the limit of what we can do to brand and market our businesses. But I would like to add, we need to go in and do some of these special certifications, like if you're a minority-owned business, if you're a woman-owned business, because people are always looking for those companies to get some of these contracts. So if we're not organized and we're not, have our systems in place, then we can't go after a lot of these certifications that'll, you know, get us some of that other money. Annual and ongoing requirements, you know, over and over again. You have to, you know, keep your DBA up. You have to file your taxes. You have to do your statements and franchise taxes once a year. There's a lot to running a business. I've covered a lot of things. There's a lot of information out there on the internet. There are tons of resources. I kind of put together a little resource tab there that you can kind of look at. There's My Texas Wide Open for Business, My Texas Big, Texas Workforce Commission, the SBA. There's a Tarrant County Small Business Development Center. This is a jewel, and the city of Fort Worth has some resources that are amazing right now, because they're trying to get the economic, you know, motor back going with COVID here in Tarrant County. So in Fort Worth. So, you know, tap into some of these resources. And then last but not least, and I'm going to give it back to Overseer here. I came up with 10 things that I wanted to just tell people as a business owner for over 30 years. You're not too old. And I say that because I'm ready to retire. I'm like trying to figure a way out. My dad was 52 years old when John Carter's Place was incorporated. He was 52 years old. That's just a few years younger than what I am right now. And I'm trying to find a way out, right? And I can guarantee you that he made more money his last 30 years than he did his first 50. I guarantee you that. So you're not too old. Naming your business. Name it something you can sell. Just remember that. Name it something you can sell. Number 3, pay yourself. And I know my husband's probably laughing at this one. Laughing. Pay yourself. Statistics says that 38% of business owners don't take a salary. Take a salary out of your profits. You deserve it. You're working hard. It helps keep you motivated. It helps keep you going. Pay yourself. Check your alliances and competitions. When I say that, you cannot get into business with everybody. You know, we love the scripture where Jehoshaphat says, you know, the battle is not yours, it's the Lord's. Well, the reason Jehoshaphat was in that situation is that he teamed up with the wrong people. All money, not good money. You cannot team up with the same people. With everybody. You can't team up with everybody. Watch your alliances. Competition. Your competition doesn't have to fail for you to succeed. There can be more than one good soul food restaurant. I Our God is bigger than that. You don't have to wish ill will on another business for your business to thrive. That's not who God created or made us to be. Separate your business assets. This is something I learned in probably the last 10 years. If you have business assets like buildings and vehicles and anything of value like that, those assets do not need to be owned by the operating business. Set up another business for that, and then lease those assets back to the operating business. Take my word for it. You'll find out if that happens. You'll find out. Okay, duplicate yourself. In order for your business to grow, you have to learn to duplicate yourself. You don't want to be in a situation where I have to be there to make money. Because if you're having to be there to do all the work, then you can't grow. You need to be out there getting your feet wet, finding some other stuff for it to do. So you have to learn to duplicate yourself. Duplicate yourself. Follow the rules. Follow the laws. Just do it the right way the first time. Just do it the right way, and you don't have to worry about it. Anybody can come look. You can be audited. You can be whatever. Just do it the right way and just have it done. Be done. Don't let people trick you into you don't have, just do it the right way. Take it from me. Do it the right way. Stay current. There are so many different things are changing, especially with COVID, and people have had to rebrand themselves and reorganize themselves. You can't put your head in the sand. You have to be out there with your ear to the ground, trying to see what's current and what's going on. Keep yourself up to date. Don't always be the smartest person in the room. Hang around with somebody that knows a little bit more than you know. It's okay not to be the smartest person in the room. Stay current. Number 9. This is a tough one for me. Make the tough decisions. When you own your own business, there are going to be tough decisions that have to be made. People are going to have to be fired. Prices have to be changed. All kinds of things have to be done. But you have to be able to make the tough decisions. It keeps down on confusion. When you're confused, all that means is that you haven't made a decision. So make the tough decisions, the hard ones. And when you're dealing with people's livelihoods and stuff, make the tough decisions. The last one, watch, fight, and pray. As believers, even when we have to make decisions and make choices, sometimes we don't get it right. Sometimes we mess up. But as believers, we have a God on our side that said he'd make crooked places straight. That he would bring down mountains, he would bring up the valleys. So God has our back. All we have to do is trust in him, make the decisions, have integrity, be honest, try to give God glory in everything that we do, and our businesses will thrive. They will be a blessing. You'll be a blessing to your church. You'll be a blessing to your community. You'll be a blessing to your family. You'll be able to leave a legacy to your family. And so with that, the last thing, would I do it again? If I was, if it was 20, 30 years ago, if I could, move the time back, would I do it again? I definitely would again. I changed some things, but I would definitely do it again, because I think because of the choices that were made 30 years ago, I'm able to leave a legacy for my family. I really am. And John Carter's place, my parents, it's still given. And I'm not going to tell the secret, but there's some big things coming. There's some big things coming. So with that, Overseer and Sister Hurst, I want to thank you. I pray, I hope have helped somebody. Like I said, I don't have no license or none of that, but a whole lot of stuff that happened to me in 30 years. And I just thank you so much for listening to me tonight. God bless.
If you can, why don't you just give her a hand? It's just so much information. That was just so great. I tell you, Sequoia, just real quick, let's see if there are any questions or any comments. Thank you so much, Denise. That was just off the chain.
All right, as you know, as I mentioned before we started, that this is, we are starting the best of series. So we're gonna, for the next several weeks, we'll be going over some of some of our Bible studies that we've already shown this week. And tonight we featured how to grow your business, which was a lesson taught by our very own sister Denise Bowman back in April of this year. So hopefully there was something said that you may have missed the first time and you were able to catch it this time. So we hope that you enjoyed tonight. And we will see you guys back again next week as we present another episode from our best of series. I don't want to take too much time. And I'm so glad to see everybody on tonight. Before we go, I'm going to pray us out. Dear Lord, we thank you so much for allowing us to gather another week, God, of Wednesday Word, God. We thank you for the nuggets and the gems that were dropped tonight via Sister Denise, God. We thank you for allowing us to assemble together once again. God, we thank you for everything you've done so far and everything you're going to do, God. We ask that you would we thank you for continuing to keep us, God, and we ask that you would just continue to keep us as we continue throughout this week. In Jesus' name, I pray, amen. And I do have one announcement. We will be having our grand opening. We'll be reopening this Sunday. We have a reopening service this Sunday at 9:30 a.m. If you are interested in attending, please email lhurst@gmtcc.org. Please be sure to email Sister Hurst. I know there are going to be some parameters put in place. Some things will look different than the last time when we were in church. So don't just show up Sunday thinking, oh, they said we're going back to church and I could just go. Please do me a favor and email lhurst@gmtcc.org if you would like to attend. That is all that I have for you guys tonight. I hope you have a great, great week. Have a good night.